Welcome to qnawire.
So we're given the formula for the volume of a sphere, and that represents the volume of air in the balloon that has a radius of r. So if your balloon had a radius of r plus 1, the volume would be v of r plus 1 equals 4/3 pi times r plus 1 quantity cubed. Now the question asks us for the function that would represent the amount of volume increase. So this would be the difference between these two volumes. So the increase in volume would be the volume with a radius of r plus 1 minus the volume with a radius of r. So let's calculate that. So the volume with a radius of r plus 1 is 4/3 pi times r plus 1 quantity cubed, and the volume with a radius of r is 4/3 pi times r cubed. Notice that we have a factor of 4/3 pi in both of these terms, so let's factor that out. 4/3 pi times, and now our job is to simplify this quantity, r plus 1 quantity cubed minus r cubed. Now perhaps sometime in your past you learned to multiply a binomial using the binomial theorem, but just in case you didn't, let's go ahead and work it out the regular old long way, the algebraic way. All right, so what we need to do is multiply r plus 1 times r plus 1 times r plus 1. And then don't forget, we're going to subtract r cubed from that. So let's start by multiplying the first two r plus 1's together using the FOIL method. And we have r squared plus 2r plus 1. That will then be multiplied by r plus 1, the third one that we still haven't used yet. So now we still are carrying that 4/3 pi along for the ride. Now what I would do, there's different ways to do this, but what I would do is I would multiply r squared by both of these factors, and that gives me r cubed plus r squared. And then I would multiply 2r by both of these factors, and that gives me 2r squared plus 2r. And then I would multiply 1 by both of these factors, and that would give me r plus 1. And then we don't want to forget we still have minus r cubed at the end. So now's a good time. We could cancel the r cubed and the minus r cubed. And now we'll combine some like terms. So we have 4/3 pi times what? Well, we have r squared and 2r squared. So those add together to be 3r squared. We have 2r and r. So those add together to be 3r. And we have 1. So that's just 1. Now, I see nothing wrong with leaving the answer just like that. But you know, there are times when you get your answer, you look up your answer in the book and theirs looks a little bit different and you don't know if you're right or not. Sometimes you're right, they're right, and your answers just look different. So here's another option for simplifying the answer. What if we factored 3 out of all the terms inside the brackets? It's a little bit strange to factor 3 out of 1, but it can be done. If we factored 3 out of all of those, we would have 3 times the quantity r squared plus r plus 1/3. And the reason for doing that is just to reduce it with the 3 on the bottom of the fraction. So this form of the answer looks like this: 4 pi times the quantity r squared plus r plus 1/3. Again, an unnecessary step in my opinion, but that's how you would get your answer to look like that.